and welcome to my second instalment of Budgie's Blazing vlog, or blog, whatever you want to call it. Thanks for checking in again today on my second episode. Just to kind of recap, so I'm looking to just do something a little bit different, road testing some hot sauces. From week to week it will be kind of 2 different hot sauces from all over the place. I think for now I am concentrating on more kind of UK, London based hot sauces, but we will be widening the net to kind of outside of the UK. Again, if you've got any suggestions, anything you feel like I'm doing wrong, I'm sure there's lots of stuff I'm doing wrong, please drop me a note, comments on this page, anything, and I would love to get in touch with you guys, and also to offer your feedback and just kind of how you think this is going. So I'd love to hear from you guys. So let's get started. So today we have got the World of Zing Peri Peri Naga Chili Ketchup. So that's this one here. And then we also have the Chilli Mafia HH2 Heavenly Hot Habanero. So I think what I'm going to do is actually start with the HHH Chilli Mafia Heavenly Hot Habanero. It says that this one's actually a killer product, which sounds really, really good. On the heat-o-meter, it's kind of bang somewhere in the middle. You can't really see it, but I will try and do a close-up and show you guys that, but you can hopefully just kind of see that there. Now this particular brand is kind of produced and run by a guy called Mr. Vicky. So Mr. Vicky is actually as far as I'm aware from doing a bit of research, he's actually an English kind of white kind of guy who's doing these hot sauces and lots of other products. And actually his focus is on Indian kind of products. So he loves India, he loves the culture, he loves the food. I think he sees himself as an honorary Indian, and you know, from trying some of these other products, we're happy to take you on, Mr. Vicky. We think you rock and you're doing a really, really good job. So open arms, come and join the Indian clan. So he does lots of other products. He does lots of actual Asian style pickles. So like a mango pickle, mango, lime pickles, that kind of stuff. So if you're going to an Indian restaurant and they give you the pickles or your poppadoms, he's actually doing those kind of versions. And I actually think he's doing a pretty good job. I've tried some of the other stuff and it is really good. He does have over about 50 products in his range from what I can see. So he has got quite a lot. A big portfolio in terms of his in terms of what he's offering us. So let's give this a go. So we've got the Chilli Mafia HHH. I'm going to open it up now. Nice little click there. Oh, so this is the Heavenly Hot Habanero. Now what I'm not sure on here is whether this is a sauce, a pickle, a jam, what it is. So it has got a really, really thick consistency, so there's no way I'd be able to just pour that onto a plate. I'm going to have to use a spoon for this. It's almost more like a jam or a chutney. It's a really, quite a very, very thick consistency, almost like a brinjal. So a brinjal is like a Indian pickle that's actually made with aubergines, so it's quite dark and thick in consistency, and this somewhere kind of reminds me of something very, very similar. So I'm going to give this one a little try. So again, it's the Heavenly Hot Habanero. So in here we have got tomatoes, sugar, onions, peppers, oil, vinegar, ginger, chilli, mustard and spices. Now we don't know what the spices are in here, but let's give it a go and see how we get on. Everyone knows I love using my fingers when I eat, so I'm just going to crack on with that. No point in changing now. So I am getting, that's actually quite pleasant. Now that's very nice. So what I'm getting initially is, I'm getting quite a lot of sweetness, and I'm getting the tomato flavour, and I'm getting kind of like some spices and things coming through. And then, excuse me, it's got a nice little kick to it, and then I'm actually getting some heat there. So it is, so on the tongue what I am getting is sweetness, with the sugar. I'm getting some tomato flavours. It's a tiny bit fruity, but in a very, very nice way. And then I'm getting a really, really nice kick of heat, and that will definitely be from the habaneros, which is really nice. Now, I do like this. One thing I would say though is that it is very, very, very sweet. So I would almost class this more as like a jam or a marmalade now I'm tasting it, just purely because of the texture and the sweetness and the fact that it's actually in a jar as opposed to a bottle. Now again, I think Mr. Vicky has left this open to interpretation in terms of what you can do with this product, but again, I would class this as more like a jam or a chili tomato chutney, that kind of area. It is very, very tasty. It's got some really, really nice heat, and I'm still getting some heat now. And I really do like the texture. It's got a really, really good texture. It's really chunky. It's tomatoey. I'm seeing lots of bits in there. I think there might actually be some black mustard seeds in there potentially. So there are some Indian spices, and even maybe some fenugreek might be in there. But it's based on what I'm tasting. Excuse me, that's just the last of the chilli going down. I've not really had any breakfast yet, so starting with the chilli. So this is a really, really nice product. I'm still getting some nice heat on my tongue, which is lasting. It is, I would say, something that would go really, really nicely on maybe a cheese board, to add a really different kind of dimension. So instead of having like a chutney or a pickle, a dollop of the heavily hot habanero would go really, really nicely with some cheese. I think it'd also maybe really, really be good as a marinade in cooking, that kind of thing. So that's a really nice product. I do agree with Mr. Vicky's heater meter. So I think it's probably kind of midway in terms of heat. If you can handle chili, it's kind of halfway there. It is kind of giving a little bit more chili as we're going. So it is giving me lots of chili, and we're getting lots of flavour there, which I really do like. So that is Mr. Vicky's Chili Mafia HHH Heavenly Hot Habanero. In terms of the look of the actual jar, it's a really nice sized jar. You've got 210 grams in there. I think I paid £4.50 for this, and I actually picked it up on a recent trip to the Lake District. So I went to Keswick to the local market, and I picked this up. So Mr. Vicky is actually based up in the Lake District. The branding looks really nice. One thing I would say though is that I think it looks a lot more fiery than the product actually is. So I think it's indicating that it could be a lot hotter than it is, just purely because of the branding. And it's using the kind of red and yellow theme that we see in a lot of chili products today. So that is kind of in line with a lot of stuff that you might see on the shelves. Overall, a nice product. I'll come back to this one on the rating. Let's now move on to the world of Zing. So the world of Zing was kind of created in 2014, and this was actually a product that was sold in Broccoli Market in London first off, by a guy called Pritesh Modi. So Pritesh is Indian, obviously by the name. So Pritesh actually started selling his sauces in Broccoli Market in 2014, and he's now expanded his range, and he's got a range of sauces. Chili. So he actually does, you can go and buy chili products from him. So on his online shop, you can buy actual loose chilies, like Indian Kashmiri chilies. So as well as his sauces, you can buy chilies, you can buy bottled cocktails. So he's also doing bottled cocktails, which is quite interesting. So he's doing a bit of a range of products that on his online offering. And he's also selling, quite interestingly, sauces from other London-based brands. So he's selling Slow Riches, for instance, which is for another episode. Moving on to Pritesh's World of Zing hot sauce. So this is a Peri Peri Naga Chili Ketchup. And on the front it says it's citrusy, spicy and charred. So I'm really, really looking forward to trying this one. One thing that I'm a little bit hesitant of, which I always am, is Naga chilies. Now, I've had some bad experiences with Nagas, so let's see how this one goes. I think Nagas are quite interesting because they're renowned for just being very, very hot. However, I think if they're created in the right and blended in the right way, it could be a really delicious product that I'm going to try. So let's give this one a go. So we've got our Peri Peri Naga Chili Ketchup. It pours out quite nicely. It's a lot darker than what I was anticipating actually. So in terms of the colour of the sauce, it is a lot darker to what I was expecting it to be a bit more red, purely because it does say that it's a Peri Peri Naga Chili Ketchup. However, perhaps because it's charred, it's taken on the darker kind of colours of the charred ingredients that I'm assuming he's put on. So let's give this one a go. Actually, I'm just going to a little bit of milk just to clear through Mr. Vicky's Chili Mafia. So let's give this one a go. Not what I was expecting at all. Wow. Interesting. So, so this is the Peri Peri Naga Chili Ketchup, citrusy, spicy and charred. Now what I would say is, I'm definitely getting the citrus, probably a little bit too much citrus for my liking, for my palate. It is very, very tart. I'm getting a lot of tart flavours, and I'm actually surprised that there's not a lot of heat in that product for me. So in comparison to the chili jam that I've just tried, this is no way as hot, although it has Naga chilies in it. Now in terms of flavour, it's very, very citrusy. It's got some spice in there, almost like a HP brown sauce I'm getting in terms of the spice layer and the flavour. And then I am getting something at the end, almost like a little bit of heat, which I'm assuming is coming from the Nagas. Let's just quickly go to the ingredients, see what's in here. Right, so it is made with tomato ketchup. So the first ingredient on here is tomato ketchup, with all of the ingredients that actually go into a shop bought tomato ketchup. And then we have got, I'm just moving down past the ingredients that go into the tomato ketchup. And then we've got roasted red peppers, lemon juice, Naga chili mash 1.7%, Naga chili cider vinegar, salt, lemon zest and allspice. Okay, so this is quite interesting. So what Pritesh has done is, so he's taken a ketchup and he's blended it with some chilies and some spices to create his Peri Peri Naga chili ketchup. Now, I would personally say this product isn't offensive at all. It's quite pleasant, although I was expecting a little bit more heat from this, just purely because of the word Naga being, being on the bottle. I'm actually not getting a lot of heat from that, and personally, I think it actually has very, very strong hints that are kind of lending itself more towards a HP brown sauce or something like that, with a tiny little kick at the end. It's a nice product, but I think it could do with a little bit more heat, in my opinion. Just turning up maybe the Naga a tiny bit, and maybe just taking off some of the lemon juice, because it is quite a tart product at the start, and then you're getting a tiny, tiny little hint of chili at the end. In terms of branding, I think that Pritesh has done a really, really fantastic job. I love the branding. I think it's a great label. You probably can't see from here, but it's a really nice kind of quality paper that he's used for his actual label. It's like a slightly raised texture. I love the label. I love the fact that it says, well done Zing, born in 2014. And then it says flavour beyond ordinary. It's a nice product. It's got some really good qualities to it. I love the branding. I do think, as I've mentioned, that it could do with a little bit more spicing up. So moving on to my ratings of these two products, I would give Mr. Vicky's Chilli and Mafia HH2 Heavenly Hot Habanero Killer Products a 3-star rating. And just to summarise, that is based on the fact that it's got a really nice texture, it's got a nice bit of heat to it, it's almost slightly different to what you'd expect. It's more of like a chili jam, which I really like. It's almost straddling a jam and an Indian pickle, which is quite interesting, and I like what he's done there. I think the branding personally is letting him down a bit. I think you could do a little bit more with the branding. However, a good solid product and a 3-star rating. Moving on to Pritesh's World of Zing, Peri Peri Naga Chilli Ketchup. I think this product personally was, I think it should have offered a little bit more personally from what I was expecting. I was really looking forward to trying this, and I was actually expecting it to blow my head off. I know Pritesh's kind of values are that he wants to combine heat and flavour, and we're very similar in that respect in terms of what I am trying to do as well. However, I think he could have just turned it up a tiny bit on the heat level. His branding is very, very nicely done. Very impressed with the bottle and the labelling. I'm going to give Pritesh a 2 for World of Zing. So that is my rating, and that concludes today's Blazing blog. I hope you enjoy it, and cheers. Speak to you very soon.